I'm Evie. I'm a rising junior on the Richmond field hockey team. I'm majoring in business administration and leadership studies.
Hello, my name is Meghan Stocks. I am a Richmond field hockey alumna. I graduated in 2013 and currently I am back home in Chesapeake, Virginia, and I am teaching as well as operating my business that does field hockey developmental programs and my field hockey nonprofit.
Okay, let's get into the questions then. What was or has been your favorite memory as a member of Spider Hockey? You can go first.
Man, and I honestly was thinking about this even when I saw them, and I was just still trying to think. But honestly, I think my favorite memory is still continuing. It's just like those relationships and just like those bonds and the fact that they last even after hockey. Like, when you're playing and when you're on the team, you're like you have those great moments, you have those fun memories, but when you're out of it and you'll get to it, there's that shock of when you're like there's no more sports ever. Like, I mean, unless you do the national team or whatever, but then the fact that you can still like call someone up. Like I just saw, where I'll be seeing Chelsea and Catherine, a lot of people from my era, because Catherine's getting married. She's the head coach at Central Michigan now, Catherine Ostwich. But it's just great that I can just call people up, whether they're my freshmen or whether they were my seniors when I was a freshman, and we can still reminisce. So that's probably my favorite part there.
I'm trying to think. It's very difficult to pinpoint a specific thing. And obviously this past year has been interesting with kind of not having the same hockey memories as we're not traveling and really, and then having a different setup. But I feel like going back to freshman year, it was probably beating VCU and in shootouts was really exciting. And I don't think I really understood the VCU rivalry until you actually get into it. And doing that, and being there in the night, just the game lasting forever, and everyone was exhausted. That was really exciting. And I think it really shows how much the team comes together, even when people make mistakes, even when you might be down a goal, everyone just rallies together, and it's a really cool thing about being part of a team.
First favorite memory would be when we won A10s my junior year, because NCAA is weird if you're like an A10 conference, you're not, like the ACC because of how field hockey, our sport, is set up. But we got to do our playing game against Cal Berkeley. So as soon as we beat St. Joe's, no, we beat Temple. We were playing at St. Joe's. We beat Temple, and we were at the restaurant, and they were coming around to us while we were celebrating with all our parents, and they're like, "What's your name? What's your birthday?" Like, we're booking flights, and we literally that night had to hop a plane to go out to California, and that whole trip, like, we were gone from school for like an entire week. It was insanity, but in the best way possible. It was like going to the Golden Gate Bridge and walking down the wharf in San Fran, and then we won, thank God, and got to come back, and then we got there at like 10 a.m. and they were like, just go to class, just show up so that you're still alive. And I walked into my geography class just like eyes probably bloodshot, looking like in our travel uniform, hadn't even been able to really shower or anything. So that memory, because that whole trip was great.
We were supposed to go to California last year, and I was so jealous. I want to go at some point.
That's
That's
like always the best. All right, what's the second one? It says, what was something you learned as a student athlete at Richmond that prepared you for life after college? Whew, man, so many of those skills. Honestly, and I feel like this might be a little cliche for a lot of student athletes, it's just like the hustle. Even though you're a student athlete, everybody doesn't have the full ride or whatever. I had some student loans coming out of college, and you're sitting there like, I mean, I have an English degree and I didn't plan to go into teaching, but also it's not like teachers are raking in the dough when it comes to paying down loans. And then it came to like, all right, well, I have skills and people want to learn hockey, and it kind of just birthed my business and then the nonprofit. And now I've been able to give back. So that hustle mentality, to just like see what you're given and work with it, like whether you're in the moment and you're down goals, or somebody gets a card or somebody gets sick and you didn't anticipate, or injured and you didn't anticipate that happening. It's like whatever hand you're dealt, just being able to roll with it. But yeah, I think that would be probably the best skill that I learned being a student athlete that I don't think just not playing a sport would have given me. What about you?
Yeah, kind of going off of that, it's like always at the end of season we have like a week or two, I guess, of class without practice or kind of going into the winter season, and you have just so much free time and you don't know what to do with it. And you just think about how like all the other college students, this is their life. Like they have all this time, but then like I feel like you appreciate how busy you are and how focused you get from it. Like although you may not be able to sit down and watch an episode of Netflix every night, but you're like a lot more organized knowing that you only have a little piece of time to do your homework in the evening, and you need to make sure that you go and eat. And I think you appreciate going to D Hall with your team more because it's like you only have so much time in the day. So I feel like it really is just, I mean, once again, it's kind of cliche, like time management, but also like being so appreciative of that time that you have, like your downtime, and even just like your time at practice, the time after practice, like the times that you do, like extra skills after practice on the field, just like, I guess, just appreciating all the time that you have because it just goes by so quickly. I mean, in season, you're just like in and out of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the art of like the 10 to 15 to 20-minute power nap. I feel like we've all mastered because
Yeah.
you have to have that time management. Like, all right, so how much has the game changed? Woo, honestly, I'm trying to think. So you obviously that I officiate or whatever, and I do college games and stuff. And then I did. What was the last one I did? Longwood this past spring was like the last one that I had. And I would say, as far as the game, it's just like the speed and the level of skill, which I love. Like it's always elevating. I'm gonna date myself because I don't feel that old, but this is gonna make me sound super old. My first year in college is when they changed like to have the free start, so you could just like take it like the self start and just go, which is insane now thinking about the game without it. Like I remember growing up watching ODU play, and like there was a foul, so one person would literally pass it to the other, and she would just like hit it, and it was just like what? But I don't think maybe more drag flicks is probably the only thing I would say I've seen more now. But beyond that, it hasn't been an insane amount of changes. Or the long hit, like taking it at the 25 now instead of in the corner, I think is so much better. You can do a lot more with it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously for me, nothing's really changed that much except from, yeah, I guess in high school, was it I think it was high school that like the long hits changed. And then the quarters, doing that in college, because then obviously in high school it's like two halves. So doing the quarters instead, I think also changes the pace of the game and like matching that like FIH kind of ruling. But I like the quarters. It's nice to play with those for sure.
Yeah, see, I'm always torn. It's like interesting. I think it depends on like if I'm officiating how the game goes, whether I like quarters or halves. But I will say sometimes it does make it go by quickly because, well, technically you're losing 15 minutes of the game, 75 down to 60. But then it's funny because like those 2 minutes in between, they're supposed to be like literally 2 minutes, always wind up being like 5 minutes. Like the officials are always like, all right, come on. And then it takes time to set up. So, but I mean, it's not terrible. So I guess that one, yeah, you're right. It hasn't changed too much. Okay, so we have what were some of the game day traditions? Yo, some of my absolute favorites. So, and I'm gonna go first just because I want to hear if these are still things, and you tell me what you guys do now, whether as a team or individually. So, my freshman year, one thing that we did that I absolutely loved was somebody got all these temporary tattoos, and we would just get like randomly tatted up. Like I never forget, we had a lot of it was like a dinosaur pack. Don't even ask me how. I don't even know what kind. It was like a brachiosaurus was one Amy Cook would always get. He had like the T-Rex. And it was funny because none of them were like sports related. It wasn't like a no team, like a game day one. They were just really random. And they were just funny because they would just be like, you come out here and just see like these college girls and like, oh, she has tattoos. And you're like, wait, what? No, it's like a kids party one. And then of course, actually, you might not do this anymore. We're in the locker room used to be attached to Robin's. We used to have to take our cars and drive all the way. I mean, not all the way. It's like a 2-minute drive, but you would drive from Robin's all the way around to the field. But it was just great because you would just like pile into anybody's car, you would blast the music, honking the horn, making a complete fool of yourself, annoying everyone on campus. But it was just like a cool, I don't know, it was just like, that's like one of my favorite traditions, was just like the ride over there. What do you guys do now? Now you have that nice new locker room and everything.
I know, it's so nice. But that's like our game, like day rooms. Like we'll go there before, but I mean, this year we haven't been able to use our locker rooms. Really, like that just with COVID and everything, and hopefully we're all good to go in the fall. But we would still, and like freshman year, we did like meet up at like and then drive over. So that's still a thing, I guess. But yeah, I mean that's just like insane. I mean, I remember like on my visit, like seeing them do it and then being a part of it. It's just madness, but it gets you like so amped up and you're just like blasting all sorts of music and then just like honking your horn and everything. I love that. And then I don't know when this got started, if it was just like my seniors freshman year, but we did like the Cotton Eye Joe before every game, just like dancing crazily. And that was fun. It was a good like amp up. But we always have like dance parties before the game, and it's just like any way to really get yourself amped up, and I'm all over it. I love it.
Game when we won A10s my junior year, like I don't know if that's a road trip per se, but we were away, just driving through California. And the best part about that, one of the seniors at the time, she was a year ahead of me, Caitlin Peterson, absolute angel. She was from California. And her parents obviously had never always had to fly over here to be able to see her play and stuff. So for us to go to her hometown, and her aunt had got us these like I love San Francisco shirts and these like bags and stuff, and like her whole family came and everything. And then we wound up, I think we beat Cal either 2-1 or 2-0, but it was like it was a tight game. But yeah, that away trip most memorable.
I'm trying to think. For me, I feel like it was freshman year. We were on a bus. I think it was like I think it was Lehigh Lafayette weekend, somewhere in Pennsylvania. And we like kept getting bus issues, and then our bus like broke down in the middle of nowhere. And the only thing that was nearby was like this grocery store parking lot. So we like sat in this grocery store for like 3 hours, and Jamie was like heavily pregnant at the time. So we're all just like sitting in like the liquor section of this grocery store, like eating random foods but with our per diem. And but like everybody's just chatting, everybody's getting along. So it was just hilarious. And then our assistant coaches had to go like find hire cars to go and then like start shuttling everybody back to the hotel. So it was just like a whole ordeal, but it was just so funny and everybody was getting along, like no issues, nobody was complaining, everyone was just like it happens. But yeah, it was just one of those things. It's just hilarious when you think back at.
I was gonna ask, I'm like, I could see so many people just being like irritable. Was it after the game or before the game?
I think it was like on a Saturday. I think I want to say it was like in between games. Like we just had like practice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if it was after a game, especially one that if you didn't win, then it's like you're salty. But then if it's before a game, you're like antsy because you're like, oh, we got to get there. They're going to be looking for us. That does sound kind of fun. Yeah, those random moments are really the best. Like my absolute favorite. What did you look forward to the most during the season running the 5K? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. That's definitely not it. Not the fitness test. Um, I got two answers to this one. So the first thing I'm gonna say that does not answer this question is preseason. I look forward to, but not for all the running and training. I look forward to it because it was just like nonstop athletes on campus, and it was just some of the most fun. Like it was just like you got to play your sport, but you didn't have school. And I love school, student athlete first and foremost. But there's something about it, like you already said, when you train so hard and you're always running between a paper or a class, and then you're having to just like really heavily focus on practice that day or running and stuff, like to be able to devote your time to just like one thing was so nice and wonderful. But then to have all the other athletes there and everybody who's kind of in the same mentality and mindset. But then you had your moments to chill. Like we would have the most fun like going down to the river on days off or just like hanging out in Richmond. So I looked forward to preseason a lot. But something else, what did I look forward to the most during season? Away trips. I know this sounds terrible. People are like, did she really go to school? Like, did she like school? I did, guys, I did. Um, but it was just like I like road trips in general. So anytime to go to someplace new and just go see the sights, because the thing that people forget is like you do have some of that downtime. So you always have like Philly and LaSalle and or Temple, and you got to go to the Rocky Steps to go check out an area, or like I said, when we did Cali, you got to explore the area, or even like playing Georgetown in DC. Like there were times we got to go like just shopping on our day off. Like when we have games and we played like Duke one time, we got to go around like the Chapel Hill area and just explore or stuff. So I like that because I'm such a nomad and I like to travel. So I answer that in two parts.
Yeah, definitely like some of the travel weekends, depending on where we are, there's a lot of fun stuff to do. Like we went to St. Louis, we saw the arch and stuff. But then sometimes some of these campuses are in the middle of nowhere. It's ridiculous. I We just like went to the movie theater and saw it was this movie called Abominable, and it was about like the abominable snowman. And it's like a kids movie, so we're just like all these college like athletes are just sitting in this movie theater just watching this like little girl and this like abominable snowman like run around. It's so funny, but it was just like it was either that or like a rated R movie, so it's like abominable it is. um
That is actually really funny that you say that because you're right. It like makes you appreciate Richmond. Like, so obviously you played under Jamie and I had Coach Gina Lucido, but she'd always make us go on a walk around the campus before a game on an away trip, and I never forget. Like we were at Rutgers, but then we were doing like our pregame like walk or something because we had all that time in between. She wanted us to stay loose, but then we had to like use the bathroom. But then we had to like let somebody let us into their dorm. It was so strange, but it was like so early in the morning on like a Saturday, so most of the college kids were still asleep, and it was kind of awkward, but also kind of hilarious because it's just like, no, you ask him, no, you ask her. But then it was like, do we wait outside? Then they're not going to come because they're going to be like, they're just like random girls from, and they don't even have on Rutgers colors. So
um yeah, I just some of the OA trips are insane. I'm trying to think what I feel like at Richmond wise, I love just I think just like being just together as a team. Like whenever we do anything like meals together, like before a game or like in the morning, we like do a walk around campus after like D hall breakfast or something like that before a game. Or just yeah, it's all just like the little things really I think add up. Like just those team bonding moments. Like in preseason, my freshman year, we did a trip to Browns Island. Is it Browns Island? It's one of those like islands in like downtown Richmond. And we did like a little scavenger hunt in your little spider families is what they call them. And it's so fun because we're all just running around, like getting to know each other and just everything like that. Because in the yeah, you spend so much time with these people, like you can't not get along with them. And I mean, we're lucky because the team that we have right now is amazing, no drama, just everybody just wants to play and just wants to have fun. So I think just spending all that like time with them is so great because like we are busy all the time, and so having those moments of just having fun with like nothing serious. There's not like a game or a championship on the line, and there's you're not thinking about homework, but you're just having fun with your team. And I think that's just really important. Otherwise, I think we'd all lose our minds.
yeah, that actually reminded me of something. Do you guys still, does anybody ever do Einstein's before a game, or is that not a thing? Oh,
We did freshman year, but we've moved to like Nate's Bagels is what we did this year.
oh, that's so honestly, that is a grade A shift because those things are delicious. So I do
Mhm.
not fault you there. Yeah. Oh man, that reminded me of those scavenger hunts. We used to have to do those, and but sometimes though it would be like the most random thing ever. And you're like, guys, I can't do this. Like you really just want to text somebody from the other team, like, okay, what's the answer to this one, or like, what's the clue? Like, where are we going with it? But they were all fun. That's what I liked about being at Richmond.
I don't know. I think we've just been lucky with like the coaching staff consistently, like that puts just like people having fun first over because I mean we're never gonna like win the whole thing unless you're enjoying it. You can't, do well if you're all hating everything. So I think just fostering a fun environment that's still competitive, but just everybody's getting along, everybody's there to have fun and work hard, I think is essential. But
Yeah, I had the chance. Randomly enough, like I would. do college camps when I graduated because I did coach for a year before I started teaching in college, and thought about staying in it. But one thing I did was coach college camps, and like the summer before, I didn't really know that Coach Gina was like leaving or she had plans to. But when it was finally announced that Jamie was going there, and I had literally met her that summer at Duke's camp, and night out of camp when you're a counselor, the coaches will go out, and we were just at some little spot, just like having a drink, just talking, field hockey stories and stuff. And I just like to hear her talk and everything else. I was like, man, that's like she's a phenomenal player. I mean, obviously former national team and everything like that, but just like her mindset about it. And then when it was announced that she was going to Richmond, as alumni, we always talk about like, oh, the team, and we're like sometimes we're like, hey, let's go see a game and stuff. So it's always nice when you see kind of that legacy or something that you had a part of continue. And I was just really happy when I found out it was her, because I was just like, first of all, hey, I just met her, and that's kind of cool to stay connected, but also like you knew her vision was going to be one that you were going to be proud of, and like you guys have done phenomenal work, like absolutely phenomenal work. So we're proud of you guys. A lot of, I talk to my class all the time. I actually call up everybody. Look, here's some good advice. I don't know how close you are with like people below you or some of the people who graduated or whatever, but any of those bonds or any of those connections, even if it seems like so ephemeral, like that you really weren't as close to them, call them up. And it's so funny. I did that, especially like my long road trips, and I called up like to a couple of my freshmen, and they were like, "Wait, did you mean to call me?" And I was like, "Yes, of course I meant to. Like, how have you been?" And it wound up turning into like a 40-minute conversation with one, an hour with another, 20 minutes here, and it was just like a really cool way to reconnect. For some people, I'd lost touch with, but try that out every so often if you have a moment, because it's just like it'll put a smile on their faces, but it's also really cool to just like continue just seeing what people are up to and just like talking to them. So
Yeah. It's just insane that I'm a junior. It's like scary. I mean, obviously like the past year with COVID, it's kind of just been different and flown by. And then 2 years left at college. I'm not ready. It's horrible.
you're saying that, but then it's like, remember how we were talking before all this, and I was like, yeah, I like kind of coached Evie at moments and like had her high school games. So like for you to say that, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, whew, we're almost in that 30 club. Like I definitely feel old, and it's so weird because I mean, like, obviously we're like hometown, knowing each other and everything, but then it's like I remember some of you guys when you were like U14s, and like at Futures, before Futures was like now this Nexus thing, and I'm just kind of like, it's so cool to watch you guys grow up, but then you're also like, all right, slow down. Like I remember when you were just like kind of tall and like lanky and stuff. And like I never forget, one of my number one memories with you is we were doing something and somebody asked you, I think because of your accent, and they didn't realize it, your English roots and stuff. And you were like, no, I say pasta, like instead of pasta. But I don't remember the full story, but that's the number one thing I always remember about you, of course, in your games and stuff. But it's just like, it's insane. I'm like, this girl is how old? She's about to graduate in what year? I'm like, I've been out that long. Make time stop.
How's so field hockey? Because you're like doing really well with that, aren't you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, as you can see right now, here's the tent. I can hear my high school players and volunteers helping out. We just got a huge donation from Longstreth. We've now partnered with USA Field Hockey with our campaign for growing the greatest game. I have a camp in a couple weeks in like third week in July, where I'll be hosting one in Chesapeake for growing the greatest game. And then we have one up in in Connecticut this summer. It's going to have like over 200 girls playing and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, the shift now that everyone's getting back into things. We're like, don't forget about our campaign, but like I'm getting donations like every week. We just moved into a storage locker. So yeah, I mean, the nonprofit is moving, and I'm just so thankful that we have a chance. And I'm excited for people to get back to play, because it's like we want to get sticks in kids' hands. So it's been going well.
Oh, that's so exciting. So I remember right when you like started it out and you were handing out stickers and like selling t-shirts and stuff. It was so cool.
Yeah, definitely. I did message Jamie. We're hopefully with COVID now and restrictions, because I know Richmond definitely took it seriously. Because I had planned to try and come up in the fall at one point, and do like just a team moment, and like regrouping sticks and just kind of like whatever, especially because I'm a mater and whatnot. So hopefully this fall we'll see. VCU actually always donates some stuff, and I gotta talk to Randolph. Like everybody, even though you have your crosstown rivals and stuff, everyone always wants to see the game grow. So I know I'll be up there at some point, and hopefully we can do something with the full team, because I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.